gentlemen, it's Russ Parr.
Thank you so much.
Sir Tom Jointer.
I thought I was good until I got here.
Positivity on demand.
You know what?
Positivity on demand. Positivity on demand.
Black men don't cheat.
Positivity on demand. Positivity on
Wow,
demand.
she is phenomenal.
Positivity on demand.
Work it.
Positivity on demand.
Talking about this, the beginning of the
Positivity
new
on
one.
demand.
Good morning, and good morning to you once again. Welcome to the Pod FM show. I am one of your hosts, Octavius, the $1 Million Voice Davis, and I'm joined back in the caboose with my sister from another mister, Wanda Piggity P. Welcome back.
Hello, thank you.
So,
good to be back.
We didn't do a show last week.
Right.
But the week before, my wife and I, my wife came in and she co-hosted with her brother.
She did. That was a great show. I watched from where I was, which
in
was
Alabama.
Not Pensacola, but in Alabama.
Yeah.
And great show. So.
And thanks once again to Dr. James and Dr. Teresa
Oh
White.
my goodness,
for being our guest on that show and just being so transparent.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna order that game.
Oh yeah,
I'm ordering
the
that
data
game.
deck.
Data deck.
Yeah, the data deck, which
I'm
is
gonna order
the
that.
relationship dating game that Dr. James and Dr. Teresa White created, patented, and is now available for purchase. A great way to,
get to
pre-screen
know people.
right? During the date and after 10 and 20 years of marriage.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But you weren't here because you were at a family reunion?
No, I wasn't at a family reunion.
Okay.
I went to visit my aunt who is ill.
Okay.
And just wanted to check on her, and it was a great trip. I had a wonderful time. So I was able to lay eyes on my aunt.
Nice.
And doing well despite her situation.
Sure.
But in addition to that, I got to see another friend of mine. And remember, we started the show back in May of 2019, and I made mention about a friend of mine who had cancer. Well,
yes.
That friend came up to Bruton to see me as well as other families, so I got to lay eyes on her as well.
Yeah.
So, and she's doing well also. So it was a great trip. I always got a story. I thought about this.
Oh, shucks.
And
Now, what you got for us today? Yeah, come on. What you got?
And I said, you know what? We had some nerve. So there was a funeral that Saturday.
Okay.
So me, my cousin Shanika, shout out to my cousin Shanika. Thank you. I got to stay at her house. My cousin Shanika, my little cousin Talia, and my friend Cheryl. Mm-hmm. We didn't go to the funeral. I didn't know the person, but the person, a lot of my family members did know the person.
Okay. So there was a homegoing service taking place while you were there.
While I was there.
Okay.
So we didn't go to the funeral, but we went to the repast.
Now, hold up. Question.
I know.
Hold on.
But
Let me ask my question. Hold up. Did y'all show up to the repast dressed as if you had gone to the funeral?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Okay. Okay. Because I'm about to say you're trifling me that was about to go through the roof. Okay.
I know, and that's why when I thought about it, I said, this is kind of funny. But no, I didn't. I mean, we were dressed business casual. How about that?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's suffice.
Yeah. But no, what it is that one of the young ladies who is a friend of Cheryl's that I knew too the few years that me and my family lived in Alabama, Cheryl said, well, can we come to the repast? And so Barbara was like, oh, yeah, come and bring Wanda because I want to see her.
Yeah.
So that's how we ended up at the
Got it.
That's how we ended up at the repast. But my cousin Shanika said, "Oh, this will be great because some of our family is gonna be there." So yeah, so we went to the repast. We didn't eat.
That was about to be my next question. I was about to
we
ask.
didn't eat.
Okay.
No, we didn't eat. But
so you were still able to pay your respects.
yeah, in a way, to this gentleman, and this gentleman again is somebody that a lot of my family members know. In fact, one of my cousins, he was a great friend, very close friends with a cousin. So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I'm glad you had an opportunity to go over and connect with your aunt.
I
and
know,
that you made it
yeah.
back this way safely.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
It was a great trip.
it's become customary at this point that I got to ask how your week was. How was the week for you?
Oh, this past week?
This past week, yeah.
Yeah, it was good. Sure could have used some more sleep this morning, but that's okay.
You know, it was a struggle for me getting out of bed this morning too, and I'm an early bird. You know,
Yeah,
I'm typically
well,
up
the
at
cold
4:30.
weather tends to do that. It
Yeah.
makes you not want to get up because, well, it's cold.
Yeah.
So.
I literally found myself at some point in between 5 o'clock when my alarm first went off and 5:16 when I was hitting the snooze button.
Your
I was
alarm
like, do we
went
really
off
need a
at-
show today?
Yeah, right.
Would Wanda really be upset if I just didn't
Wanda
show
wouldn't
up?
have been upset.
But we do have a great show in store
Yeah,
for you
yeah,
today.
we do.
If you notice, we are not in our typical
Yeah, we're on a
studio
field
setup. Because the Pod FM show, we mobile, baby.
Yeah.
You
How
see what
about
I'm saying? I'm talking about if you got a business, you got an organization, it don't matter if you in another city. The
Right.
Pod FM, we're mobile. We can come to you. We can
We sure
broadcast
can.
from you.
Yeah.
And that's where we are right now. A few months back, we had guests on the show, Pastors Dwayne and Alex Robinson. They are the pastors of Called Out Believers in Christ. Well, they invited us to come and broadcast our show from
Right.
their financial well-being workshop that they're doing here at the church on today. A lot of great information that they're going to share. They even have different professionals in the areas of insurance, investments, as well as home ownership that you can still benefit from if you make it out to the church. I want to say it's 1345 Naira Street, which is here on the Riverside for those of you that are here in Jacksonville. And, before we get into the dynamics, because we're going to also have those professionals here on the show to talk with you as well.
Right.
Before we can get into that, Wanda,
Yeah.
we got to talk about the Pod FM 411.
Absolutely. And you know what? I just want to give a shout out to Black History Month.
Come on.
Today is
Okay.
the last day,
It
which
is.
is why I'm wearing my dashiki and, representing it is
I
the
got
last
on
day. Jimi Hendrix.
He
Okay.
was
Well,
black.
that's Black History.
Yeah, Black history.
How about that?
I'm
Yeah.
black.
Oh, my goodness. Whatever.
So Pod FM 411.
Yeah.
Wanda Pickety P.
Absolutely. So our first story, of course, I just made mention of Black History Month. There is a teacher out of Virginia. Her name is LaToya McGriff. She's a first grade teacher at Creekside Elementary School in Suffolk, Virginia. Every school day this month, what she did, she dressed as a different person, figure, whatever, for Black history.
Yeah.
She dressed as depicted a different Black person every day. And I love that. You all may have seen her on Good Morning America.
I didn't see that
because
one.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
I just came across a story and I thought it was just so great. And she said, I just wanted to bring history alive for the kids. And I absolutely love it. And you know what, when I was prepping for this, getting ready to send you this information, an idea came to me.
What's that?
We really ought to have costume parties, Black History costume parties.
I like that.
You know what I mean?
I'm going to tell you why I like that. I've shared this before with our listeners. I work at a charter school. And so this is our third year now where I've had involvement in our Black History program. And, Black people, don't stone me, okay? But I got to keep it honest. All right. Now, the charter school I work at, we service kids kindergarten through 8th grade. They don't care nothing about Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, Madam C.J. Walker.
Okay.
Right? And when I say they don't care, not that they don't appreciate their contributions.
Sure.
But the generational gap is so wide. And when I look at the photos that are displayed, they're old school black and white. Right. And so what I love about your idea is I feel that it can reinvigorate Black History Month for today's generation.
Yeah.
And here's the fact of the matter, too. We have African Americans that have made contributions to the progression of African Americans in 2020.
Oh my
in 2019,
goodness. Do you know how many stories we can do?
You see what I mean?
So many.
But during Black History Month, there's so much emphasis, in my humble opinion, there's so much emphasis that's placed on, what was done during the Underground Railroad.
Well, I don't know. Well, let me just give a shout out to the school that I work for, Wayman Academy of the Arts, because there is an emphasis on Black history and Black history figures. So it really, I guess it just depends on the environment. And with LaToya McGriff, a shout out to her for bringing it alive. And that's 20, well, it depends on, how many days would that be? That's maybe 20 some odd different figures that she can bring alive to her students.
And let's say it this way.
And
just 20.
Well, just.
You see what I mean?
Exactly. So I don't know, when I was prepping this story and thinking about it, I was just thinking this would be a great thing for us to do during Black History Month. So maybe next year for the Pod FM show, maybe every show that we do during the month of February, we can dress as a different figure.
Like that.
I like that
idea.
An idea.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, just an idea. But I'm
gonna be Eddie Murphy.
So anyway, as I was saying, I just really think that would be a really good idea. It would bring history alive, not only for us, but for the children who are watching us. And no disrespect to what you're going to be, Dolomite or something? Is that what it is?
No.
He played Dolomite.
He played Dolomite, but no, Eddie Murphy himself, not one of the characters Eddie played, Rasputia. I ain't going to come up as Rasputia.
Oh, God. That's so hilarious. But anyway, I just think it just is a wonderful thing. One thing that I've noticed the last couple of years, and then we'll move on, and that I've seen on social media and has happened at Wayman Academy of the Arts, a lot of teachers are dressing up their doors.
We did that as well at our school.
You guys, well, so that's really, really good.
And
so
the theme was HBCUs.
Love it.
Each of our teachers had to design their classroom door with a different HBCU.
Okay, love it. See, so that's engagement right there, and that's exposure, and that's really all it's about. So
Indeed.
So hats off to LaToya McGriff in Suffolk, Virginia.
What else we got on the Pod FM 411?
All right, so this gentleman is blind.
Okay.
And he plays the piano. And apparently he appeared on, I believe it was Good Morning America. I didn't see this either, but apparently he was on. His name is Matthew Whitaker. He plays the piano, and he's a jazz pianist. And he's been blind since the age of 11. And he's been performing all over the world. He is so extraordinary that scientists are now studying his brain, trying to understand his vision of music. So
to get an understanding of what it is that he's visualizing when playing?
When playing, absolutely, because they're saying when he plays, he's twisting melodies, crafting complex harmonies, and he's improvising at the drop of a dime. Wow. So he is just really, really extraordinary. So shout out to Matthew Whitaker. I believe right now he's only about 18, 19 years old or something like that. He's young.
And I don't know if this story covered this or not, but my first question is, you mentioned that he's been blind since age 11. Do they state what led up to his blindness?
No, I did not get that in this story, so I have to do some further research on that. Yeah. But I wanted to point that out because, again, the Pod FM 411, we're about exposing the good that's the good in our hood. How about that? So Matthew Whitaker, so that's his name. So if you want to see his performance, just Google his name and that video should come up. But
he kind of strikes me, and I haven't heard him yet. Does
me
he just
either.
play or does he also sing? Because if he sings also, that's going to put me in the mindset of him being this generation's Stevie Wonder
or
even
Ray Charles.
Ray Charles.
Sure. Yeah, that I don't know. But yeah, he's a jazz pianist.
Okay.
So I don't know if he sings, but he may.
That's what's up.
Yeah, shout out to Matthew Whitaker.
Indeed. And then last up, you're serving up for us on the Pod FM 411.
So I just saw this late yesterday. Will Smith, of course, we know about Bad Boys.
Yeah, Bad Boys for life.
For life. Did you see
Oh,
that?
it was
It was
dope.
wonderful. Yeah, I need to go. I'm not much of a movie going person.
Go see Bad Boys.
I know. I need to.
You will not
'Cause
be
I
disappointed.
I love Will Smith, and I also really love Martin Lawrence. But Will Smith is about to step into another role.
Yes.
Which this is so extraordinary. So there are new images, and you might see them on the screen. Will Smith is about to play Venus and Serena Williams' father in a movie called King Richard. And I'm excited because we never really get to hear a lot about Mr. Richard Williams,
Sure.
Venus and Serena's father. I remember early on when they first burst on the scene, media played him. I guess I had kind of a viewpoint of him as being weird and awkward, but I believe that was just the media's interpretation of him.
Sure.
Because number one, they were intimidated. Number two, here's a black man.
Yeah. Active in the life of his children.
Thank you. Active
Yep.
in his daughters' lives, and then teaching, and then telling his daughters, not only are you beautiful, but you are a winner and you can beat everybody. You know, and I think they were intimidated by that, and that's given us this kind of, I don't want to say negative viewpoint, but just view him as awkward.
Well,
you know, and
I think
he's
it's
not.
okay. I think it's okay to say negative because think about it. If you control the media, you control the message.
Well, absolutely.
And think about this. You're speaking about a black man who's raising up two black girls to participate in a white-dominated sport.
Absolutely.
And so I can recall seeing an interview that was done. I believe it was Serena or Venus. I don't remember which of the two daughters that was being interviewed at the time. I think they were 12 or she was 12 or either 13 years old during the time of the interview.
Yeah.
It was a Caucasian male interviewer, and Venus or Serena was
I
sitting
believe
there in the
it was
chair. Right.
Venus. Sorry,
and Mr. Williams was off camera.
Right.
Well,
I know what you're talking
the interviewer
about.
asked her a question, something along the lines of, "What makes you believe you can play the sport?" Something to that degree. And she responded.
She sure did.
And the interviewer, I guess he wasn't satisfied with her response.
Right.
So he asked the question again.
Well,
Mr. Williams, at this point, he stepped into the interview and he got into that interview like, hey, what are you doing? She already answered the question.
Right.
You're attempting to attack her confidence.
And I believe she said something to the effect of, because, well, I am a winner. Or something to that effect.
Something that you would expect a young African queen who's been deposited and encouraged the right way to speak of herself.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
And what I've always found interesting whenever I see that clip, when Mr. Williams is lighting into the interviewer, she's just off camera like this. Yep. My daddy got you.
Right.
So I think it's dope that he's getting his day in the sun.
Yeah.
With his story.
I'm so excited. So I don't know when this film is going to come out, but of course we will let y'all know.
Yeah.
But it's going to be called King Richard. So, and I just love the fact that they put the title King in there.
Yeah.
So giving him his just due. And I think currently as we speak, he's suffering from illness and stuff like that. But
I've heard such a thing.
But he is the reason why Venus and Serena at 38 and 39 are where they are.
Without question.
Yeah. But that photo of Will Smith is like, wow.
Yeah, he's definitely transforming.
He really is.
Into Mr. Williams. So I'm looking forward to seeing it.
As am I.
I'm a huge Will Smith fan. I haven't seen everything that he's put out.
Yeah.
But for the most part, his work is pretty consistent for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you are a huge Will Smith fan.
Without question.
Yeah, he used to think he was a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Seriously. But anyway.
How? When?
Because you act like him.
What? That's not me. That's just my personality.
But anyway,
I take the compliment. Though. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Shout out to Will Smith, Mr. Richard Williams. We we wish you well
Yeah.
and wish him speedy recovery, whatever health issues he's got going on. Hopefully he'll be able to be well enough to be able to see this project through and all of that. So I look forward to it. It's
Absolutely
gonna be great. Now I'll go to the movies for that.
Yeah, hey, we'll see what it do.
Yeah.
And we're actually ready for our first guest. We're going to get our first guest in here for you very quickly.
Yeah.
But of course, it's the Pod FM show. As you know, there's a show that you see and a show that you hear. The show that you see is going down right now. Of course, it's the Facebook Live, right? If you're not yet following us on Facebook, I encourage you to do so. Follow us. POD space FM. POD space FM. The live version of the show happens every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. You can always go back and watch the replay if you happen to miss the live version.
Right.
But if for one chance or another you're not near your mobile device, you're not near a laptop, you can't see the live version, the video version, well, that's okay too. Because there's a show that you hear, which is the podcast.
Right.
Now, the podcast version of the show, you can hear it on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcast. We typically upload a new show every Monday. So this show, you should be able to hear it this Monday. But guess what? We have past shows that are uploaded as well. So if you have not had an opportunity to hear those, I invite you to go ahead and get caught up so that you can see what the Pod FM show is all about as we start this world domination across this nation.
Right.
You see?
Okay.
Yeah, you like that.
That was good.
Yeah, world domination across the nation. I'm going to put that on the T-shirt. Don't steal it. All right. Before we go to our guests, I do want to welcome our other guests who are currently watching us right now.
Thank you, everybody.
What's up, Hakeem, Poetress Black? We got Princess Sharice. What's up, girl? Yeah, that's my baby. We got MJ, we got Stevon, and everyone else. Thank you so much for joining us on the Pod FM show.
Hey, everybody.
If you haven't already, go ahead and share the show. Share the show as well, because we want to make certain that we can encourage as many people as we possibly can, because we have some great stuff in store for you today. As I mentioned earlier, we are at Called Out Believers in Christ Church.
Yes.
And we have our first guest, one of the executive pastor for the church, who, of course, is no stranger to the Pod FM show.
That's right.
All right. Our brother from another mother. I'm talking about Executive Pastor Alex Wallace-Robinson. What's going on, brother?
Good morning, family.
Yeah.
Good morning. How are we?
Good to have you.
Welcome back to the show.
In your space.
No, I'm glad to have you guys. You know, I'm always excited with anytime I get to spend time with the voice and Wanda P.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, Alex, let's jump right on into it. The way you and I first met, at the time I was working in the financial services industry.
Yes.
And I had an opportunity to come meet both you and Dwayne. And that conversation, our initial conversation, I could tell that your financial IQ was rather high.
Yeah.
And if I understand correctly, you handle the finances of the church as well.
I do.
So today's financial workshop, why is it so important for Called Out Believers in Christ to put on this event, and why do the people who are attending and those who are watching right now need this information in their life?
Well, financial literacy is important for all of us. It affects our daily lives.
Right.
And a lot of times what I have found is that we don't talk about it enough, and the information to help one another doesn't get passed around enough. So I wanted to create a program or an event where people could come in a safe place and say, hey, look, I don't know this and I need help with this. And how do I go about it? So, and with the initial meeting with you, we had a deep conversation, and my main problem with financial literacy is that the minorities.
Come on, black folk, come on, call with us.
The minorities,
Call us out.
We don't talk about these things because we're either shame because we don't know, or we feel like, well, I got mine, you get yours. And we have to get out of that way of thinking, especially if we want to create what they call generational wealth. There has to be somebody that says, hey, look, this is what's working for me, and this is how I'm doing it, and open themselves so that other people can see, hey, look, oh, well, I understand that. That's part of my experience. And not feel so bad about it, and not feel so shame about it, you know? So,
very good point.
Yeah.
So, like, is this something that you all are just doing one time? Of course, we're in 2020.
Yes.
So will you all be continuing this thing?
We will be continuing.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that this will start a series of things because the lineup that we have today,
which is a great lineup.
Yes. We have, we're going to be talking about all of the different aspects that affect financial. So you got, home buying, you've got investing in yourself, which is your investments, your life insurance, your insurance is just for your health. I don't know why we talk about investments, but we never talk about the investment in ourselves. The investment in ourselves is to take care of yourself and to make sure that there are things that are in place so that the people that you say that you love, that they're taken care of.
Yes.
And we have to take that a little more seriously. I don't know about the rest of y'all, and as I always say every time I come here, I'm probably about to piss some people off. But if I see another GoFundMe funeral, I'm going to scream because it shouldn't be that way. But again, like I said, with minorities, we didn't talk about these things when we were coming up, and you can't fault our people really, because you can't talk about and teach what you don't know. And you can't pass it along. And so basically most of us grew up and just said that, oh, well, I know I'm supposed to put my money in a bank. That's it. We don't research the bank. We don't research how this bank is going to work for me. How this investment is going to work for me. Do I want to be an aggressive investor, or do I want to just, test the waters? There's so many different things that we just do not talk about that we should be. And educating ourselves so that we can educate our kids.
So let me commend you. Let me commend you all, this church, for doing that, because churches are starting to do that. Like mine, for instance, we're at the tail end of our financial literacy series that my pastor's doing. He called it the other 90%. Living beyond tithes and offering. So let me commend you all for doing this.
Thank you.
And offering it for free. Part of the problem, because I know with ours that we do on Wednesday nights, it's free as well. So part of the problem is that people, and we're starting to get it, but not enough of us are getting it to a point that you made earlier, and seeing the importance and the urgency of doing it. And when it's offered for free, we really need to take advantage of it, because if we were to go see a financial planner or whatever, some of this basic stuff that you can get here, you're going to be charged for it. So it would behoove us to just take advantage of these things.
One of the main focuses that I was adamant about when we even discussed doing this was that it was free. Because my thought process was this: if they're having trouble with budgeting and seeing where their money goes, how am I going to then charge them to come and find out how to fix that? They need help already. I'm going to add another thing to them. So, it just didn't make sense. And I believe that, as churches, we say we want to minister to the communities. We want to be good steward to the communities. Well, we have to share information with the communities.
Very true.
We have to open ourselves to say, hey, come on, get this. This is free, no charge. We just want you to know you're in a safe environment. You can ask whatever questions you want to ask. And the way that I set it up today is that this will be an initial feeding. So if there's some extensive stuff that you need to talk to with anybody, you can make an appointment with them, and even that's going to be free for you.
Wow, that is so wonderful.
And to add to the phenomenal things the two of you have said already, I want to kind of combine what each of you have shared. I love what Pastor Mark Griffin is doing at Wayman AME when you speak about living beyond the 10%. Right? Because let's think about it. Annually, the black church, the African American church, brings in about $20 billion a year from tithe and offering. $20 billion.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But when you look at the state of the African American community, educationally, economically, the list goes on and on.
Yeah.
We're not living beyond
Yeah.
the 10%.
Right.
And so what you're doing today is
Right.
teaching people
Teaching us
how
how
to
to do that.
live beyond the
Yeah.
10%.
Yeah.
Right? And that's so important
Yeah.
because if we're going to have, and we can't even talk about generational wealth yet.
No.
We got to talk about next week wealth.
Yes.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah.
That paycheck to paycheck.
You see what I'm saying?
But that's
Yeah.
the reality for a lot of people is
Yeah.
I'm living from paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
I don't have any savings. So
Yeah.
God forbid something emergency happen,
Right.
I'm going to be in the hole or I'm
Yeah.
going to be bankrupt.
Right.
And who wants to live with that anxiety and that fear?
Yes.
I think that if our communities are better, then our churches will be better.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
yeah.
because
Yeah.
then we can take that wealth that is circulating in the community
Right.
and put it where it needs to be or where it can help.
Redistribute
Like you,
it.
to your point with our schooling, our education.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Why don't we have more private schools? Why don't we
Right.
have more scholarships?
Yes. Right.
You know, to
Right.
help with the situation. But it just seems, like I said, it's that old thing
Yeah.
where I got mine, you get yours.
Yeah.
However means necessary.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
Called
we
Out
gotta-
Believers in Christ is helping us bust through these stereotypes. This morning, 1345 Naira Street
Yes.
is where we are right now. The workshop takes place, it starts at 10 o'clock. Where's it going on now?
9:30.
9:30.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So it's kicking off right now, going until
Until 12.
Going
No,
until 12.
1. Maybe 1.
Ish.
Ish.
It's going until ish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So go ahead and come on down
We'll be here
and
as
stay
long as
around
you
till
need
ish.
Yes.
Okay. And until you get your ish straight. No, I'm
You know what?
oh, we in the
my
church. I'm sorry, but you know what?
he said it right. He said it right.
Oh my
Alex,
goodness.
thank you so much. We know that you
Yeah.
have a
Thank
lot
you.
that you got to get underway.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you again. We appreciate you so much for allowing us to come and do
Yes.
today's show
Yeah.
from the church and here at this seminar. Man, I just cannot thank you enough.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
And
Thank
so
you.
do you all know when the next workshop will be?
I'm going to
you're
base it off
planning.
of today.
Okay, gotcha.
Because it's going to be a series. Like I said, this is just starting the boat rolling. There's a whole myriad of things that I have planned for 2020.
Wonderful. Yay. We
Well, if you
getting
have
that
not
money
already,
together, honey.
Make
in
certain that you're
2020.
following Called Out Believers in Christ
Yeah.
so that you can find out about the upcoming workshops and
Yeah.
come in fellowship with them as well.
Yes.
Come check out a series.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much for listening to the
All
Pod
right.
FM show. Alex, as you step over, we'll go ahead and take our next guest who's going to
All
come in
right.
and talk with us a
Thank
little bit
you
about
so
investments.
much.
All right. So with the series that Pastor Griffin is just wrapping up, what's one of the main things that you took away from living beyond the 10%?
Well, budgeting is very important. Budgeting is very important.
Yeah.
Budgeting is very important because it allows us to see exactly where we are. First of all, setting goals, of course.
Yep.
You know, setting goals. But once you set those goals, then once you budget, it really allows you to be able to tangibly see and get a good idea of when you can meet that goal.
Yes.
You know, whether
Yes.
it's paying off a particular bill or putting money aside for a down payment
Yes.
for a house, you know, and the like. So, yeah, it's been a good series. And it wraps up this Wednesday.
So has it taken place each Wednesday, or has he done it on Sundays also?
Yeah, every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday.
Yeah, every Wednesday.
Denise made a statement which I totally agree with. Most of our mindsets about money need to be changed.
Yeah, that's very true.
Right.
And I know this gentleman can speak about that.
Yeah, because you made mention about
Yeah.
Pastor Griffin talking about budgeting. I'm horrible. My wife does our budgeting. My budgeting skills is trash. I'm just going to let you know right
same
now.
here, but
Right?
but you know, going to the workshop, and I've known that I need to do a budget.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how much money you make or don't make.
Sure.
You still need to do it because you need to be able to just connect your mind with what you see on paper.
Yeah.
Realistically about your financial situation. And if you're coming up short, you know, every month, you'll be able to see it,
Yeah.
you know? So, and not anything, and we're not talking anything that's complicated and convoluted, but just simply putting down on paper what you bring in,
Yes.
your expenses, and, you know, you're able from there to be able to just kind of map out how you need to go about your week to week or your month to month.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be complicated. We just have to do it.
We make it complicated.
Yeah, we do.
And so to help simplify
we just gotta try,
the process when it comes to your budgeting, when it comes to your finances, we got the money man in with us right now.
Good to see you.
Asley Peralta, he's a regional vice president with Primerica Financial Services. Asley, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
And
Thank
it's good
so
seeing
much.
you again.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
Now, a lot of different things we're going to be talking about today, or that's going to be spoken about within the workshop itself. All right. And when you say investments, that causes people's minds to go somewhere. Like Denise mentioned, when people say investments, immediately their mind goes somewhere.
Absolutely.
And so with today's workshop focusing specifically on the black and brown community, in your experience, where does our people's minds typically go when the word investment comes up?
Well, it's funny. Like every time I have conversations with people, you see it go all over the place. I.e., real estate. I heard that this would be great or that would be great, and I think there's a lot of great vehicles for doing so. But kind of to your point on the budgeting side of things, there should be an amount. And one of the things no one ever really talks about is the way we've always been brought up to look at our investing habits is let me pay all the bills and whatever's left over, then I'll do something with. And if you look at people who have successfully accumulated wealth or done anything in that arena, they always say you should pay yourself first. Okay. Right. And so that's the first thing is taking a portion, be it 10%, 15%, you know your budget, right? Better than most. And putting that somewhere where it can make money for you. And see, one of the things that, again, we haven't been taught and the wealthy do know how to go do is to get their money working for them. You know, whether they're asleep or doing other things, the money should always be working. And so when it comes to investing, there's a lot of ways to do it. But the biggest thing is to, first of all, have a plan of action to start with, and then look for vehicles, which I'll discuss, in detail if you guys want me to, but look for vehicles that'll have your money multiplying, faster than it is just sitting at a bank or somewhere where you're really not getting anything out of it. And then again, all these other things like real estate and all that stuff is great. But if you're not well versed in that, then you can be throwing away money there as well. So there's a lot of arenas for it.
And you mentioned a few different things. Right. And so many of you don't know this because I haven't shared it yet. When Alex came in, I mentioned that I worked in financial services. Well, Asley is the broker that I work with. I worked in his office as one of his financial representatives. And so I'm familiar with a lot of the things that you're speaking about. Right.
Absolutely.
And so let's call a spade. Right? Someone may be hearing this right now, seeing this right now. Yo, man, I can't afford to invest. I hear what you're saying. I can't afford to do it.
That's
right. Because look, I got this CD at my bank.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They take that money out my check before I even see it, so I'm not missing it. And besides, I have it in that investment vehicle, so I'm good, bro.
Right, for sure.
But what do they not see? What is it that they're not understanding about those investment vehicles?
Absolutely. Well, some of the things that you got to look at is, especially some stuff like CDs and banks, is that at the end of the day, if we want to be completely honest with how people view our money and investment and stuff like that, is if you do not have a lump sum of money, you are not relevant to most places, most entities, i.e. the bank. And I always say, if you want to have a good laugh, walk into a bank and say, I want to, save $30 a month into an investment vehicle and watch where they put you, right? They don't really have anything for that.
Here's your savings account.
And so like even a CD couldn't even be open at that. But again, the conversation that people don't have is to look at all of the things that go along with it, like i.e. inflation, right? So interest rates are really important because if you're getting, you're excited about a guaranteed 2% in a CD, but inflation is 4%, your money's not even keeping up with what's happening to money in general. And so, again, people get excited about things like 401ks and stuff like that, and you should, because if they match, then you should be all over that. And that's one way to start saving. Right. But you got to have different vehicles for that. So when someone says, hey, I go down to my local bank and I got a CD or things of that nature, the pitfalls to that is that your interest rates are very low. There's vehicles that can get you 9, 10, 11, 12% on your money. And you look at the stock market, again, this is not an offer solicitation to do anything inside of mutual funds. But if you look at the stock market last year, closing out 2019, there was mutual funds that did 30%. You just can't get that in a CD. Does that make sense?
Now for the person, and I know we're short on time because we have to get our next guest in, but I think it's very timely to make mention of this because someone who's plastered to CNBC and they see how the
gosh.
Dow took the biggest hit
drop.
in its history the other day. And this man talking about investing my money? Man, you tripping. Right? So how does that play into this entire coronavirus epidemic scare that's taking place, and how is it impacting the market?
Thank you for saying. Great. And that's the number one thing I think over everything. If you don't take anything from me today, you should take this, okay? Is that, you know, get away from the TV first and foremost. There's no good news happening there. But there's always going to be something that affects the market. And so if you look at actually investing and wanting to be savvy in investing, when the market drops is actually one of the best times to invest, because I want you to think of it this way. If I'm buying a share of a stock at $30 and the market drops it down to 15, but it's a great company, right? I eat toilet paper, stuff that people are never going to stop using. When it comes back up to 30, but I grabbed it at 15, I am getting it on a discount.
Exactly.
So there's something called discipline and dollar cost averaging, which means pay yourself first every single month into an investment vehicle, and the market is going to go up and it's going to go down, but it doesn't matter. You're going to be in it at all times, so you'll catch it on the low, you'll catch it on the high, and don't let things like what's happening in the media panic you, because you're not in it for the short term. That's why you shouldn't invest short term. You're in it for the long term. And over a long period of time, no matter how many course corrections there are, your money is going to average 9, 10, 11, 12%. But you have to be disciplined. And that's the number one thing. We just don't know how to be disciplined. You get it up to 1,000, 2,000. Now you find things to spend money on. And before you know it, you're waking up one day and wondering why you never invested.
Let me ask you this question. Okay, I've never had an investment, somebody out there, and I would like to start investing. How much money should I have to start? Or what is a range? You know, because I'm sitting here looking at you like, okay, well, I got $30 and you just said that ain't going to get it. So what do I need? Somebody needs to know that. What do I need?
Great question. And that's where I think that budget comes into play, right? I just give you ideas and suggestions, right? How do you look at your money, right? Is Comcast $150 a month worth really spending that on that? So I think you can find areas where you can find money.
That's right.
But one of the things about Primerica I love most is that you can open up an investment account for $25 a month. Now I tell all my clients, you're not going to become wealthy doing $25 a month, but you will establish the habit of investing. And as you get to a place where you get that habit down, then you fill it with more money. But again, I think the most critical thing is sit down and look at where you are blowing money, i.e. Starbucks, i.e. eating out every day, you know, cable, things like that. And if you look at that, you'll find 80, 90, $100. And when you find that, then you'll sit down and be able to see that over time, 10, 15, 20 years, money compounds pretty quickly. But you have to start somewhere. So if it's 25, that's great. You'll build the habit of it. But I would take a look at everything and see if maybe I can free up a little bit more and get disciplined enough to not spend money now for the frivolous things you want now, and think more long term for the things that can do for you.
Great advice.
His name is Asley Peralta. He's a regional vice president with Primerica. If somebody wanted to reach out to you to get more information, how can they reach you?
Several ways. I mean, my phone number is easy. I don't mind dropping. It's 904-537-2139. And I think that would be the best, you know, Asley Peralta, ASLEYPERALTA on Facebook. And you can friend request me, drop me a message. I'm all over that as well. And so if there's anything I can ever do, and we do everything complimentary, we'll sit down with you, take a look at your game plan, and not charge you for that, which is a big deal. That's where people's fear comes in.
Absolutely.
And I can show you some things that'll help you in a big time way.
Wonderful.
That's what's up. All right. Denise said weave. You don't need that weave this month. Invest it.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you, Doc. Thanks for stopping on the Pod FM show. We're ready for our next guest. And a lot of great points.
Great point.
Because that's a real notion that some people believe. They don't believe they can afford to invest.
Absolutely.
And the truth of the matter is people pay for what they want.
There you go.
I pay. Look, I'm going to keep it here. I pay for what I want. You see what I'm saying? And I believe it's the truth for all of us.
We all do. Come on in.
We got our next guest coming on up in here with us. We have Miss Antoinette Neal. Or Antoinette.
Antoinette.
I saw the look in her eye.
I heard that pause.
I saw that look. It's Antoine. Okay.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Pod FM show. Good morning to you. So Antoinette, tell us a little bit about what you'll be sharing during today's seminar.
Well, Antoinette is an agency owner of a We Insure franchise. We Insure is a property and casualty agency. So we sell or we provide home, auto, and business insurance.
Okay,
Nice.
very good.
So what I'm going to do today is educate on the differences of the insurance, the different levels of insurance,
Very
Yes.
good.
what insurance means,
Yes.
the terminology, because a lot of people don't realize, what these different coverages mean.
It's scary.
It's very
It
scary,
is,
and
yeah.
we don't have the right limits on our cars.
Yeah.
Right.
We're taking the state limits, and
Correct.
that's not giving us enough coverage.
Right.
We have very expensive cars out here now
come
that's on
on.
the road.
Yeah.
So if you only have state limits, you don't have enough coverage.
Right.
So you're already putting yourself in a lawsuit situation.
Yeah.
So I want to educate today on what's the proper limits for your coverages, and also how to save some money on your insurance. There's all kinds of ways to save money.
We need to be in on that seminar.
Because there's so much information that's out
can
there.
be,
Right.
Yeah.
And with the power of the internet, it can be both a blessing and a curse.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of great information, but then there's also a lot of false information.
Correct.
So when you speak about home auto coverage, and there's a third one, home auto
Business liability.
and business liability
Right.
coverage. Someone who may be operating in any one of those spheres,
Yeah.
right? How can they know what's fact and what's fiction when it comes to their coverage?
They need to have an insurance agent.
Don't try to be the genius. Hire the
Antoinette.
genius.
Absolutely. They need to have an
Right.
insurance agent
Yeah.
because you're right. Now you can go out on the internet and purchase insurance.
Yeah.
Right.
But you don't know what you're purchasing.
Yeah.
It looks good because the price looks good.
Right.
But are you fully covered? More than likely you're not.
Yeah.
Right.
So again, if you have an insurance agent like myself, I'm a
Come on.
broker.
Come on. Yeah.
So again, when you call me, I'm going to shop the markets for you.
Gotcha.
I'm going to
Okay.
get you the
Okay.
best rate,
Yeah.
the best coverages.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
that's how you're going to be protected. You should always have a personalized agent that can help you. You can call and say, hey, this is the situation. What do I need? I can tell you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Internet's
That is
not going to
really,
do that
really
for you
good.
because you don't know what to ask the internet.
That is true.
Yeah, true. And then even by picking up the phone, calling that company directly, you still don't know. So having an agent, like you said, you can navigate through. Because one of the concerns that I have with regard to car insurance is that discrimination. Based on age, because
Right.
I have young men now,
Yeah.
So, and they say if you're 25 and under and car insurance rates are ridiculous.
Astronomically
And
high.
yeah, I'm a witness.
Yeah, yeah.
They're 24 and 21 and, and then having a daughter that's 23. But also, I've heard of based on where you live, your location.
Yes.
There are,
Absolutely.
your zip code matters when it comes
And credit
to
score.
insurance.
Credit
And
score is
that-
now playing a
I didn't even
huge
think about
part
that
in
one
car
too.
insurance coverage.
So with all of those said, so you being an agent, you're able to navigate us through that. Are you able to help us avoid some of those pitfalls when it comes to our zip codes and all of that?
Well, where I come in as a We Insure agent is we have over 104 contracts with different carriers.
Okay.
So if
okay.
you're calling State Farm,
Yeah.
you're only going to get State Farm
Right.
coverage.
Yeah, right.
If you call We Insure, again, I'm going to find the carrier
Okay.
that will cover your car at the best rate.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we'll have choice.
Sure. Sure.
Again, I may have 15 different carriers to
Right.
where State Farm has one.
Right.
Allstate maybe have a handful.
Right.
But we have more.
More options.
Gotcha.
More options.
I like that. Yeah.
And I have one
might
final
be coming
question.
to see her.
But before we let you out of here, because I know that your workshop is starting soon,
Yeah.
you mentioned that most people don't have the proper coverage on their vehicle.
Correct. Yes.
Right? But I got that PIP, bruh. I can afford it. You see what I'm saying? My car paid off.
Right.
Now that I finally got the car paid off, I'm going to get this here PIP and let it do what a PIMP do. You see?
Right.
So,
Oh, Lord.
PIP coverage. What
Right.
are some of the misconceptions about PIP coverage?
Good question. Yeah.
Well, again, PIP coverage is personal injury protection.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's for your personal injury protection.
Yeah.
But is the car covered? Right? Is the other person on the road
Right.
covered?
Yeah.
Right.
You're only talking about yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the question there. That's the miseducation. Now, if your car is paid for, again, you don't need as much property damage. But again, we have Teslas on the road now. We have Benzes on the road now.
Yeah.
You know, these are very expensive cars.
Right.
And if you don't have the proper coverage,
Lord, if I hit one of them cars
and you
today,
hit one of them and you're underinsured,
Right.
we got lawsuits. You don't even have enough coverage for them to sue you. And now you've opened yourself up for a lawsuit. If you're a business owner like myself, and I didn't have the proper coverage, they can take everything that I have.
Wow.
Because I don't have the proper insurance coverage.
Wow. So the moral to the story is you call Antoinette Neal to make certain that you have the proper coverage that you need. Antoinette, how can they contact you?
They can contact me. My phone number is 904-421-0350.
Okay.
They can also go to WeInsureOrangeParkFL.com.
There you go. Antoinette, thank you so much.
Thank you so much
for joining us on the
I really
Pod FM show.
appreciate
Absolutely.
it. Yeah, really appreciate it.
Yes,
I'll probably
ma'am.
be making an appointment.
Sounds wonderful. I'll be looking for you, Wanda. All right.
Thank you.
So,
Take care.
Thank you.
as our next guest prepares to come in, I got to share a quick story, okay? Because when Miss Antoinette was talking about PIP coverage, all right, and I believe we're past the statute of limitations, so I don't mind sharing this story.
Oh, okay. Thank God.
When I was 15 years old, I was, of course, my mom, she was a single parent.
Right.
And she was sick. She wasn't feeling well.
Right.
Well, I learned how to drive at 14, okay?
I'm trying to think. Do I know this story?
No, you don't know this story. There's a lot of stories that you do not know, and this is one of them. So I had just come back from out of town, visiting my dad up in Maryland. And no, I'm sorry, Gary, because my grandfather had passed away. And so my mom needed her medicine from the store. Well, it's just right up the street. And she said, hey, Vaughn, my family called me Vaughn. You can't call me Vaughn. I am Octavius to you. She said, hey, Vaughn, run up to the store and get my medicine. All right, bet. We had like a Chevy Bonneville or something like that.
She expected you to walk?
No, I was driving.
Oh, okay.
I was taking her car to drive.
Okay. Oh,
all right?
okay.
I learned how to drive at 14. I had this. You see what I'm saying? So I go to the Walgreens, right, to get her medicine. So as I'm parking, I wasn't very strong with coming in from the right.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. But it was a parking spot right there. I didn't feel like parking in the open parking spot because it was right there in front of the store.
Right.
So I'm like, no, I'm just going to whip right on in there. Well, there was a black Mercedes-Benz parked in this spot opposite of the spot that was open.
Right.
So when I cut the wheel a little bit too sharp. And so I am literally scratching the side of this Mercedes-Benz. And so I stopped because I'm like, oh, shoot. I hit it.
Right.
But I'm 15. This is the mind of a 15-year-old, okay? Yeah. Well, let me move up to see if it's anybody inside the car, because if not, I'm going to put it in reverse and peel out.
Right.
So as I'm moving up, I am still scratching along the side of this Mercedes. And all I see is an entire family looking at me like... And so I put the car, the lady, she rolls down her window. She's like, stop, just stop. So I was terrified.
I'm sure you were. Yeah.
I did not have a driver's license. So therefore, of course, I was not insured.
Yeah, right.
But like I said, I think we're past the statute of limitations. So basically what had happened was the mama was drinking, okay? She ain't want the po-po rolling up. Because then she would have got a DUI. All right? So we finessed that thing a little bit. I ain't going to tell you how we finessed it, but we finessed it a little bit.
I'll find out off the air.
And I still got my license at 16. Mama insurance didn't go up. And God is good. So.
Wow. That's something.
So,
good morning, Miss Hancock.
I share that story to say call Miss Antoinette because a 15-year-old may be on the road.
Yeah, right.
We have our next guest, Miss Gina Hancock, in the studio with us today.
Good to have you. Thank
Welcome
you
to the
so
Pod FM
much.
show.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You look so very nice.
Thank you.
Like your accessories. So you're going to be talking to seminar attendees today about home ownership.
Yes.
Let's jump right on into it.
I am a realtor.
Okay.
I actually reinvest into my community more so than anything.
Really?
Yes,
as in our community?
Our community.
What?
Yeah. It's so important. Most people
that
are
is so
not
wonderful.
They're not aware of how much buying power they actually have.
Right.
And it's my job to inform them. And I try to give every tool that I know to them so that they can make wise decisions.
Right, right. So when you speak about reinvesting in our community, of course you work with, you like to work with us. Yes. Because you want to be a vehicle to teach and guide us towards that power that you just mentioned. But how much of that guidance is towards our actual communities, buying homes in our communities? Because people really devalue
that, and that's true.
You know,
and usually in our community, sometimes when you have to go in and purchase a home that has not been rehabbed in our community, then you face not being able to get approved through the government for a home ownership loan.
Okay.
Right.
So that's an issue. So what I try to do is guide people towards homes that have been re-gutted on the inside.
Very good.
Gutted out. And
I love it.
A large part of my clientele, that's where they're buying.
Yay. Love it.
And so let's talk about that, because there's a new cuss word. Well, it's not new, but there's a cuss word that acts as like a plague and a cancer within the African American community, and that word is gentrification.
Oh, my goodness.
And gentrification is destroying a lot of communities. I'm not sure if you're from Jacksonville or not.
I am.
But okay, so the Springfield area.
So
Let's
you
just
already
talk about
know.
Springfield,
Born and raised.
right? And what we now see in the area of town that they're referring to as Brooklyn, right? Gentrification is dominating a lot of the typical urban areas that have been urban for years. That was not seeing that money for years. But now there's money being funneled into those communities.
All of a
and
sudden.
we're not the recipients of a lot of that income.
Exactly, that's true.
So how is gentrification playing a part? And as you mentioned, reinvesting back into our community. How can we begin leveling that playing field with our buying power?
What we have to do, those who are qualified to buy, if we can pull our resources together, we can go in and actually buy homes that are being sold. Some of these homes are being sold for taxes, unpaid taxes. If we as a community, those of us with buying power, we can go in and buy our own homes and sell them to our own people. You know, versus allowing investors to come in, buy the homes for sometimes $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, and they'll sell them to our people for $120,000.
Hold on, I'm sorry. You say buy the homes for what?
Oh yeah,
$2,000, $3,000, $4,000.
Income that you probably have coming in that you may spend eating out, shopping, buying shoes, things like that. If you take that money, put it to the side, because these tax deeds are being sold.
Wow.
Dirt cheap.
So they're basically just buying the tax deeds. And then you got the game, Gina. Gina know the game.
And
it's something that we don't know, you know, but once you find out, it's my duty to share what I know.
Right. Which is why I'm so glad you're here and so glad that you're focused on that, which is so, so important.
What got you into real estate on this particular aspect?
A dream.
Okay.
I was probably about 19 years old. I didn't have any children at the time, and I had a dream one night that I was driving a black Mercedes with the black interior.
Oh, wasn't your Mercedes scratched up?
I was just going to say, Octavius scratched up your Mercedes. You might want to look at the side of your car.
And in that dream, there was a little girl sitting next to me who had long ponytails in her hair. And I said, sit right here. I'll be back. Mommy's going to show this $1 million home. And that dream stayed with me over the years, and I never forgot it. And there was just something that was placed in my spirit that was my destiny. That was the line I was to go down.
That's something.
So,
a dream.
A dream.
Well, thank you so much for what you do for the community. Educating the community. Now, you're at the workshop today, but do you do workshops and seminars like this on your own?
I do.
You do?
I do.
Oh,
I try to get as many people together as I can who are not sure how to even begin, because most people don't know, you know, as far as credit, what needs to be paid. Not everything has to be paid off right away on your credit. Some things will hurt you if you bring it back or bring it back to life and start paying debt. So I have a credit professional that I work with. He's an analyst, and he actually will go in and detail what should be paid, how it should be paid, when it should be paid, and I give information, and so I do hold these seminars myself as well.
Wonderful.
One of our viewers asked a question. I was about to ask a very similar question along the same lines. She said, can you please speak a little more on buying tax deeds through the city? Yes. And I think that's a very poignant question to ask, because Gina, it's tax season.
It is.
Okay?
Amen.
And Negroes is fixing to lose their minds with box Chevys, Impalas, Jordans, crab legs, and weave.
And I was just going to say, and some hair.
You see what I'm saying?
That's right.
But if people can purchase a tax deed for so little money, we are missing the ball as a community.
That's right.
So talk to us a little bit about how one could go about that process of getting a tax deed.
They actually hold live auctions where it used to be where you would go down to the courthouse and stand on the steps, and they would auction it out that way. But now they actually hold a live auction. So you actually have to get in contact with the city of Jacksonville. You can go on their website, and you can go to the property appraiser's website, and they can give you a schedule as far as when they're going to hold these auctions.
Okay.
You log in from the comforts of your home, and you can begin bidding from there.
Oh,
wow! So you don't even have to go to the courthouse anymore.
No, you don't have to go to the courthouse.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I guess, but even before doing that, though, we would have to qualify, right? We would have to have the money to be able to.
You definitely have to have the money.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's no like qualification.
No
you just
background
have to
checks.
have the money.
They want the cash.
No credit checks.
No
they just
credit
want their
checks.
money.
Yeah, they want because they're not financing you for anything.
Right.
Sure.
So they
Gotcha.
just want you to have those funds accessible for them to draft them at that time that your bid has been accepted.
Gotcha.
So we're running short on time, but I have to ask because I'm very curious about this process. So let's say I put in a bid, I get the home. Let's say it's a $3,000 home. I get the tax deed for.
Right.
Are there now programs or grants out there
That's a very
that
good
I
question.
can apply for to renovate that home?
rehab. Yeah.
There are.
Yeah.
Now, I will be honest with you. I'm not completely familiar with what programs and grants are available.
Sure.
I tend to try to tell people to stay away because they'll say grant money, but sometimes there's a stipulation that's attached to it.
Okay.
There may be a
Gotcha.
repayment stipulation attached to it, or a higher interest rate. They may charge you an interest rate if they say, well, I'm going to give you $50,000 to rehab this house, but you're going to have to pay me back $75,000.
Sure.
So there are a lot of
so you have
ins
to
and
beware
outs. Yeah.
of-
So
okay.
for the financing part, I'll redirect you to a mortgage professional, someone who can
That you work with?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they can give you better insight on.
Very good. So we need your information. How
Yes.
can we get in touch with you?
My number is 904-660-7696. And my email address is elitehomesource@kw.com.
Are you on social media?
I am Gina
Okay.
Hancock. I'm on Facebook right here in Jacksonville.
Right here in Jacksonville.
Okay.
What high school did you go to?
I went to Escambia High School in Pensacola.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
Okay, that's what's up.
Really? A
Yes.
lot of my family lives in Pensacola.
Really?
Yeah, so I have roots there. So,
I went there
honey, we
because-
could be cousins.
Yeah, we could be. Yes. Yeah, I had to go to Escambia because all of my family had graduated from there, and I had to keep that tradition alive.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, we could be cousins.
Thank you so much for what you do for our
having me.
community.
Yeah,
thank you
great
for being a
having
guest on the
you.
show.
Yeah.
Yes.
I am really curious
Yeah, as am
about
I.
this tax
About
deed
this,
process because
Yeah.
here's the other thing too, and I know you have to go, and we got to go because we're running out of time. But a person could have the money. A few years ago, I learned a lesson. My sophomore year of college, I bought a sports car. I love sports cars. And it was repossessed a year and a half later. And that experience taught me that just because you can buy something does not mean that
Don't
you can
need you
afford it.
Afford it. That's true.
And so
Or that you
we
need
could go and get these tax deeds.
Right.
We could buy it.
Right.
But can we afford that aspect of the property
Sure.
that you're speaking about so that it can become an investment property or whatever the case may
Right.
be? So what's one of the biggest, I'm going to say, pitfalls that you've seen people run into with that mindset? Okay, well, cool. I'm gonna drop this quick 25, grand. I'm sorry, 2,500 or $5,000 and get this tax deed, but they never do anything with the property, or they find themselves getting into trouble
over their head.
Yeah,
Sure.
and it's that's why I say it's good if you have a team of people working with you who can invest, because if you can't get a loan from the bank to come in and spend $75,000 to rehab, but if you have 5 good friends that have $5,000 each, maybe you can rehab it for $25,000. And the biggest
Good idea.
The biggest thing that you have to remember is once the property appraiser's office stop assessing that property as a dilapidated property, taxes are going to go back up.
Right. Yeah.
So you have to be prepared for an increase in taxes. And if you don't sell the home right away, then you have to be ready to make the tax payment on that so it doesn't fall back into default.
Yeah, right.
Gotcha.
Right. Yeah.
Very good to know. Well, again, Gina,
Great
thank you
to
so
know.
much.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate you coming on the Pod
Thank
FM
you.
show.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Awesome information.
Well, man, I don't know, Wanda. We may have to extend this show by like another hour. I don't know.
Oh,
No, I'm
gosh.
kidding. On Saturday, I can't do it. Hour's all I got. That's all I can do. All right.
Yeah, and I'm hungry.
Yeah.
You had your food. Yeah,
Yes,
I'm
I
hungry.
did. Wanda said, thank you so much for this show. So much great information. You're absolutely welcome, Wanda. We appreciate you checking in as well on a Saturday.
Thank you, everybody.
That's going to do it for us. Wanda, any closing words before we slide out of here?
Hey, everybody, early voting in Duval County starts Monday, so make sure you go and vote. And wherever you live, if you haven't had an election yet and it's upcoming, we want to encourage you to get out to vote, all right?
There you have it. Is that Super Tuesday that's coming up?
Super Tuesday is coming up. Yeah, across the country. But in our county, early voting for the presidential preference primary begins Monday. And actually, election day for us is the 17th of March. But you can early vote now, though.
Well, I got some serious considering to do because I haven't seen anything that's looked presidential on any of these stages.
Yeah, you're not by yourself.
But,
so.
It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, it really will.
From this point moving forward. But
thank you, everybody.
That's going to do it for us. Again, remember, there's a show that you see, which we're wrapping up right now. There's a show that you hear. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Go ahead and check out the Pod FM show on those platforms. And if you have not yet already, go ahead and follow us on Facebook at Pod FM. And last but certainly not least, before we head up out of here, we want to give a shout out to our station affiliates in Atlanta, hot923.com.
Hey, Atlanta.
And then, of course, here in Duval, the sound of Duval, as well as WEWC Radio. Thank you for carrying the Pod FM
Go
show.
Tigers.
So we'll catch you guys next week. Take care.
All right.
Peace.
Thank you. All righty. Yay. All right. Well, it looked like everything went over pretty well.
And we're clear.
Signal-wise.
Signal-wise, yes.
Yeah.